Wisconsin, what the hell are we doing?
Welcome to the Bucky Report, your destination for all things Wisconsin Badgers. Authentic takes.
Oh my God.
Game analysis.
Touchdown Badgers! Ring one up!
And discussion from the fan perspective.
Woo-hoo!
Thanks for joining us and on Wisconsin.
What's up, guys? So in case you missed it, the news came out today in a behind a paywall article that Luke Fickell is going to be kept this upcoming year. And what can I say? I'm a little dismayed by this. Those of you that are in the Discord have seen me rant quite a bit this evening. There have been multiple aspects of this that have been incredibly frustrating. Number one, it's been like the worst kept secret that there's been that he was likely to be back. And it says a great deal about how serious Wisconsin football is about potentially trying to compete in this current climate. And my attitude towards that right off the bat would simply be, if you're going to suck, then guess what? We can save an awful lot of money on an AD and a coach if that's how we're going to do this. And just let's cut them loose and get somebody in that's way cheaper that we can just realize we're going to suck every year rather than overpay for terrible results. I'm so frustrated by this to see the lines that we are not necessarily going to consider success based off wins and losses. Maybe the most asinine comment you could possibly make with regards to college sports at this point. Are we just doing Olympic sports? Are we doing club teams now? Is that what we're doing with Wisconsin sports? Because this has become a joke. Like when that's the attitude that you have, you were 3 years ago saying you were going to compete for championships, and now you're saying the results don't matter. You need to go. I'm sorry. At this point, that's the attitude that I have towards Chris McIntosh. When I look at this and you hear these types of things being said, if this was corporate America and this is what you came out with to your boss, number one, the results themselves would have gotten you fired by this point. The fact that you're in college sports is the only reason that you're still in a job. But the fact that you'd be costing, like doing this poor of a job, coming out and saying this to your fan base, if you were corporate America and you went to your customers and said, listen, we're going to start charging you more and we're going to give you an inferior quality product and you need to be okay with that because that's just how we're going to do things now, you'd be out of business in like a week. Like if that's the business plan you brought to your boss, he would basically say, get the F out. And here, this is what we're being sold as fans and being told that we need to be okay with this because he's too incompetent to get somebody else out. With those asking about Rajeev is busy with the kiddo tonight. He's got family time. So tonight you get me. And so I'm unchecked. I did put the link in the Discord. If anyone wants to join up and talk, I will drop it in the chat here. If anyone wants to come in and discuss things with me, feel free. Just ask that you guys keep the language clean and that you are presentable. And by presentable, I just mean let's make sure everyone's fully clothed and there's nothing inappropriate in the background or anything like that. But I don't know. Like, you guys feel free to ask questions or talk about this, but this is ridiculous. And the fact that we've had this like 3 straight times now when nothing needed to be said is infuriating to me. It's like you're rubbing it in the fan base's face that you're not going to make changes and that you're going to double down on this. And hearing that you're going to throw more money into it behind a lame duck coach that's doing a horrific job is ridiculous to me. If we lose out to end this year, we will be 2-15 in our last 17 games. And you're running this back. And I look at this and say, you have similar resources to both Minnesota and Iowa that are out there. I'm not asking you to compete with the top of the Big Ten. I can be realistic with this. But you're not competitive. And if you try to sell it as such, you're a joke. Our closest game has been 14 points in the Big Ten. So you've won 2 completely meaningless games to start the season and have not been competitive in any other game. And you're going to try selling it to the fan base that all this takes is more resources. Well, you've had enough resources to at least be competitive, and you have proven that you can't do that. So what are we supposed to take away from this, that you're just going to throw money at something and expect better results? Because number one, you haven't proven that you have a track record of success to be able to get better players through the portal or through anything else here to be able to make this work. So unless you plan on coming into this and saying, we're cutting loose the coaching staff besides Luke Fickell, and we're going to completely redo this, which he's already proven that he can't hire people that are capable of putting together a coherent or quality team. What are we supposed to take away from this that we expect success if you allow him to continue to hire coaches? All right, looks like Robert is going to jump in with me here, and we'll add him on and see what we can get going with this. There we go.
Hey, how's it going, Justin?
Oh, man.
He's back, baby. Luke Fickell's back.
Oh my God. You know, I hear these people talking about it that are actually working for the team, and I look at it and I'm like, you guys don't get it. Like you're getting paid on a daily basis to deal with this. Most of us have been fans for decades.
Yeah.
And we invest our money into this. We invest our passion. We invest our energy. And it feels like a massive slap in the face when this is how you're treated. It feels to me like you have Chris McIntosh saying, "Don't worry, I got this. I know better." And you guys just don't know. And it's like, I've been following this team. I might follow more closely than he does on a day-to-day basis in terms of what's going on with the actual goings-ons of the team. And it's infuriating to be told that we don't know what we're talking about when we're the diehards.
Yeah. No, I think it's kind of like we see what's going on. Like, obviously, like there's a lot of guys in the Discord that's like, we watch what's going on. And it's just one of those things where it's like, you can only blame other people so much before you have to blame yourself. Like, I've been a supervisor before. Like, you have to, take responsibility for yourself, but also like your players. And like I said, you can only blame your players so much. Like, eventually it's either you or the management. So unless like that's the worst case thing, is that it is Mac and like they're not able to get anything done. But at the same time, like we've both looked at the recruiting, and the recruiting hasn't been that bad. It's like they have the talent, in my opinion. It's like you have enough talented people. Which
is why it's infuriating to hear that they can't wrap their head around the fact that it's not more than a money issue. Like this is clearly a coaching issue to me.
Yeah, no, it's like clearly, I mean, the Longo experiment didn't work. And like, I don't even know what to do about Grimes, because it's like, do I just blame this on him that his offense is that bad? I mean, I know I listened to you. It's like you thought Grimes' system was going to work. I liked it too. It's like, I don't know if it's just the offensive line. I don't know if it's like, I don't know why we're not getting Vinny Anthony the ball more on just some simple stuff. I mean, that's what they always say with like a new quarterback. It's like, get him the easy throws. And it's like, I don't know how you can have so many incompletions that you're not just like, just make sure he completes a couple of them.
Yeah, I think part of it is Hunter Simmons is a total statue, which limits some things. But I will say this. The offensive line, like in order to run Grimes' system, you have to have a coherent offensive line. Like we saw his 1 year at Baylor where he did not have a even average offensive line. It was similar, but they had far better quarterback play. Yeah. So the rushing totals were similar, but the quarterback had like 3,000 yards passing and like 20 touchdown passes. We're not in the same stratosphere as that. So I look at this and I do think you have to hold him accountable to a point, Grimes. I think the scheme is still good. Like if we were going to change things out, I still want a power spread offense.
Yeah.
But it needs to have the pieces to run it. I don't buy like some of this stuff. There are certain quality control issues that I can't wrap my head around the fact that Fickle can't see. Like the offensive line, why did it take till week 3 for us to figure out that we needed to switch Malman to left tackle and move forward? That is a fall camp issue. I don't put that even on Blazek, because that is something that when Luke Fickell's watching that in camp, he should be like, this isn't working. You need to change this. And
they seem to live on hope sometimes.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. If you're going to be the CEO coach, you have to be quality control.
Yep.
If you're not going to be over a position group, that means that you have to be over everybody, and you need to be holding them accountable for what you're seeing from those groups. And it feels to me like it's a complete failure on his part that every position group seems to be struggling, and he just doesn't seem to be able to, like, what is he doing? Other than chewing gum and walking up and down the sideline during practice, I don't see a lot of stuff where it seems like we have answers. And then the other part of this, and I'm sorry, I don't want to keep, talking over you here, but
no, you're good.
We hear him say in the interview, I trust the plan. I trust Luke to be able to get through the plan. We've heard 6 post-game interviews where he said that he doesn't have answers for why they're not more competitive in these games.
Yeah.
What part of that tells you that he has the answers to fix this going forward?
Yeah, I do want to see this plan. Can we actually get this laid out? Like, can we just, I don't even want post-game press conferences. Like, I want a PowerPoint presentation on how he's going to fix this.
I don't even want a PowerPoint, because that to me, like, talk is cheap at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I want real, like, you need to prove to me what you're going to do and implement that has, like, some data behind it that means it's going to be effective.
You want a mid-season squat fest is what you want.
I don't want squat fest. I want to see, like, we've talked about this whole season. Like, there's certain things that I feel like are just simple fixes for some of this stuff. Like, pound the running game. Like, I get that it's broken, but it's not going to get better by running the ball 20 times in a game when your offensive line's broken. You're going to have to take the lumps, and your team is not winning anyways. If you end up running 3 times and punting over and over again, does it really matter? You were going 3 and out every time anyways.
Get the fullback in there.
Yep.
Get the fullback in there. Actually give him somebody else to kind of block and give him somebody to follow. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I thought, Acker, they had him in there earlier, and I thought it was okay then. It's like Janzi, they moved him to fullback. It's like, I think that could work too.
I do think the offensive line has taken some mini steps, but like, people will point to how we played in the Oregon game, and it's like we were down 21-0 before we got a late useless touchdown where they never felt challenged by us. I realize as a monsooner probably would have been like 35-7.
Yeah.
And people are calling that some type of moral victory. And I'm like, we're year 3 here. You don't get to play the moral victory card anymore. Like, we need to be seeing tangible results that say, hey, we can expect a big jump next year. And we're not seeing any of that. Bar 2 freshman, like, middle linebackers, there's really nothing we've seen that says, going into next year, I feel really good about this.
Yeah, because I mean, Hilton really hasn't done anything much. I mean, he made a nice catch, but it's like there's big hype around him. Clayton hasn't done much. I know people were hyping him up earlier in the year, which I still believe in these guys. Like that, like I said, there is talent on this team, and that's what makes things sad. In the end, it's like you should, like the Maryland game, that was winnable. But no, and like hindsight's 20/20 once again. But like Tanner Mordecai, who now, like, in hindsight was our best quarterback, he played in 10 games and he threw for 9 touchdowns. He threw for less than a touchdown a game. I mean, obviously he ran in for touchdowns, but
he
still
ran for his life most of the time.
Yeah.
Because we had a broken scheme, because you had a coach that hired a coach that, because he met him at a couple of, conferences and talking to him and stuff, and they thought about working together. We're to the point now where I don't trust him to make any hires here. And I do think that you still need to clean house with some of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever people want to say about Tressel looking better, it's still not good. Like, the peripherals on this, bar the running defense, are not great. You look at it, and the tackles for loss, sacks, they've improved, but they're still not good. The turnovers have been horrific this year. Like, you still don't force anything.
I've been on Haynes's butt this entire season. Like, even last year, I'm like, things had not been going good. You had people leave the team. It's like, Is that part of the reason Xavier Lucas left too? I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. It's like Miami paid him, but it's like, if you have a good coach, it's like, you might also stick around too.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. Hey, we're going to bring in another guy here too.
Oh yeah, no problem.
We'll go 3 wide. We'll bring in Andrew here. See if it'll let me add him. There we go. Hey, Andrew.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man.
Yeah, we're good.
What's up? What are your thoughts?
I'm coming from you from Washington, D.C. I'm actually applying to Wisconsin currently, or I have
Nice.
applied, and I've been a Badger
There we
my
go.
whole life. And I feel like I've gone through what I would say are some golden years of Badger football, watching the Orange Bowl. And
Yep.
I've always felt like we've had an identity. But I'm a Bears fan.
Oh man,
Like, I even feel like that has an identity, but we
Yeah.
don't. And it is just an absolute perfect hellstorm of just pure, like, just nobody knows what they're doing. And I feel like just a clean house is just the only step and the right step.
Yeah, that's
It's
how
just,
I feel. I was gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
go ahead. No, finish your thought.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I agree. Like I've been on this for a while. Like we're past the point of looking at this and saying like these are some simple fixes. We're fundamentally broken right now as a program, and I don't feel like Luke Fickell understands how to fix this. But it's also, I mean, this is how I felt with Paul Christ in the last couple of years with him, where it's like there are fundamental issues with the way you want to play for football in this day and age, and it doesn't work. You can't shorten the game the whole time and not be able to score and expect to be able to win football games. And that's basically what happened with him. His offenses weren't capable of consistently putting up points, and they would hold the ball for really long periods of time. But all it really did was kept the game artificially close. Like the other team would still win by 10, but they limited it because they held on to the football for a really long time, but didn't really put points on the board. Well, Luke Fickell's team does not hold on to the ball or prevent points. So we're kind of just getting our butts kicked. But I love some of the young players on this team. I would love nothing more than to see them develop and become good players here. I think there's some really talented players. I do not trust this staff to fully develop them and get the most out of them. And that's where I'm at. And I do think that I realize we're a very young team. We should be beyond where we're at right now. Like this, Minnesota and Iowa are capable of being able to develop these things and stay competitive. I don't feel like the talent gap is that significant between what they have and what we have. I do feel like the development gap is considerable right now between what they have and what we have. And that
like
has to do with how good of a job we are doing at like details and really drilling things and understanding what your strengths are.
Yeah, the defense definitely scares me. I'd say. I mean, like, obviously our run defense is better, but we put so much money into that. I mean, you signed so many guys. Also, I don't get this whole like we just signed like 6 guys from one position and we fix that and we ignore everything else. It's like you knew you needed a corner. It's like, and then we got one lineman. It's like, that just didn't work. And like, don't get me wrong, I've excused some of like what they've done because I've said they had to add depth when they first came in here. You got a guy like Tackett Curtis who's still my boy. I said maybe Bobby April was right. Maybe he was an outside linebacker. Maybe that's what he needed to do. But it's like, I do think you needed some depth in different positions. So you couldn't just go and get seniors like a lot of these other guys did. But it's like, you just can't develop, different position groups. Like, and Rico has regressed. And I'm sorry, it's like the whole fourth-yearing thing. That's just ridiculous. It's like, we probably could have bought another player if we weren't paying for all these lawyers.
Yeah, I mean, and Andrew, I'll get you here right after this one. When it comes to that, I just feel like the offensive line, it was easy to see. Ryan was talking about that on his show in the preseason. There's a very real possibility that things go sideways with the depth that we have, and things have to be right. And then Kevin Haywood got hurt, and you had nobody as a left tackle that you felt that was even playable, which is pretty damning year 3. Like, you should have somebody in the room that is at least capable of providing average level of quality.
Yeah.
And the fact you have nobody that's even worthy of power 4 level of play is pretty crazy. It's just brutal right now. Like, it's so infuriating to be treated like we're nuts for thinking that.
I will say though, one offensive lineman in that 2023 recruiting class, and then I'll let Andrew go.
Go, Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew.
To add on to a point, Ricardo Hallman 2 years ago had like 7 interceptions.
Yep.
And besides one touchdown given up on a slant route by Marvin Harrison, he locked him up basically the entire game. He showed legitimate draft prowess. Like, honestly, 3rd, 4th rounder only in the year 2 years ago. And then last year, it wasn't as good in terms of turnovers, but he still had a very nice coverage grade. But now he's just looking like a man with his head cut off. And I feel, you have all these guys who are practically inept. It looked like against Maryland, they just seemed outplayed, and that obviously can't help them. But it just seems like there's no progress at all. Like, I felt all the D linemen last year. How can you bring these guys in their senior year and just not make them any better? And like, with the 2023, that entire recruiting class leaving, and then the total neglect for secondary help. Like, no disrespect to Locked On and Ryan, but there were like 3 weeks of just like, how are we going to get these secondary issues fixed? We got to fix this. We got to fix this. And then just Ricardo announces that he's staying, and then we get like Jameer Latimer, and then it's just a total neglect. And also for depth on
and
O-line.
Deani Hill. Can't forget about Hill.
Boy.
So,
and
what I'll say in regards to that, I actually think Agard's been pretty good. Like, he has not
he's been very good.
And I actually felt like he's, like, from a talent standpoint, I felt like he was capable. I don't love seeing Skanes have to be pressed into duty as a true freshman. He's actually played pretty well himself too for a true freshman. But the depth at that position is a problem. And it feels like we are struggling with these positions consistently. And right now, like, this cycle is going to be a nightmare for recruiting. Like, we could be absolutely gutted. And I realize it hasn't happened yet, but I could see us. I was figuring out we're going to have guys that fill in. I was figuring out if we lose the top guys that some of us anticipate we may lose, we drop into like the mid 90s in terms of what our team grade is without additions. Now, I do think we'll get some additions, but where does that put you? Like, upper 60s, low 70s? Wisconsin has no business ever being that high. Even with a bad team, should not have a recruiting like class ranking that low. And I know it will be told, well, you can't go by your recruiting grades. They don't know what they're talking about, blah, blah, whatever. No offense to this staff, or some offense, you had no plan Bs. Like, there's no one that we've been hearing about for the last several months. I don't believe that you guys have been, back channeling and making sure that you have a bunch of guys kept warm in case. We heard about how many running backs you cut loose when you were going after Latimer to begin with. And now there's a solid chance that he may end up leaving and going to another school. Well, guess what? You put yourself in a tough spot. And then don't even get me started on that, because I know we have a kid visiting this week, and I look at it and it's like, well, no, now we're going for 2 running backs. It's like, okay, well, the entire selling point was that you were going to make Latimer the only running back. And now you're suddenly taking 2.
That could mean somebody's going into the portal.
Yeah. Well, it tells me what most likely is going to happen is that Latimer's leaving and they're trying to save a little face on to be like, oh no, he left. Well, we got this other guy.
Yeah.
We didn't want to compete and stay here. Whatever the BS ends up being the excuse as to why it's okay. There are too many areas here where it's like we're making excuses for why things are failing at this point. There's not enough things that are positives that are coming out of it. And it's so frustrating to see McIntosh act like we're just all wrong.
Yeah. I get the pitch of being true to a kid and being true to your word and stuff like that. But I feel like sometimes this staff does that like too much to a T, where it's just like, no, we want you to compete. It's like, hey, you're going to be our number one guy, but we're going after other guys. But it's like, this is how we expect you to be the top back, but don't let this guy beat you. Like, that's what it's about. Like, this is a paid job right now. I'm sorry, but it's like, and then it's like when it comes to the paycheck, hey, if they're playing better, they get paid more. That's how raises work.
Tyler Strieber, this investment needed to happen no matter who the head coach is. Yeah, I've heard things that this is going to be the new norm in terms of investment, and I don't really hinge it on a Luke Fickell thing in terms of giving him the investment. What I'll say to that is, listen, I just don't see the point in wasting the money, that even this next year's money on him with regards to this, when I don't feel confident that he will use it in a efficient manner. Yeah. And I feel so much better about somebody else that maybe has, a better eye for just finding value coming in and using that money well.
Yeah. To go into my personal experience for just the high school recruiting side. So I go to a high school in Maryland, and I mean, just to say it, I mean, we're kind of a powerhouse, like Chase Young, all these guys came out of it. And personally, I am talking to these guys who have offers from Wisconsin, and like they're all some of my senior buddies, and it's just like I'm asking them, you just visited in Indiana, Maryland, what'd you think of it? Or has Coach Fickell talked to you? And not a single one of them have been contacted by Coach Fickell. Like,
yeah, there's been some talk of that he's not really involved in the recruiting process other than like at the very end for closing, shutting things down. Yeah. I don't agree with that. Like I brought up earlier, he's a CEO coach. That means your hands have to be on everything. If you're not going to be locked in on one thing, you need to be locked in on everything and be covering the small details to make sure things don't get missed.
And honestly, that was his claim to fame in his first 2 years. 2 borderline top 25 classes. I liked all the guys that he brought in, like Jaden Williams, a flip late, Carter Smith. That's 2 blue chip guys, and then Kevin Haywood in his first year. But it just seems like through this like just grueling timeline of like just straight downfall. I mean, 7-5 and then 5-7 or 7-6. And it just seems like he's just slowly becoming like a Paul Chris and becoming so much less hands-on. And
he feels apathetic to a point where he's just like nothing's working.
Like not letting scouts
in. Passion doesn't seem to be there.
Hey, Paul Chris lost his guy though. It's like he had a guy, and Fickle brought in 2. And I mean, I guess you could say the same thing that Fickle lost Matt. Huh?
Paul wanted his guy gone.
Oh, he wanted his guy gone?
Oh yeah, there was he moved on to Michigan State, but there was a disconnect between those two about how they wanted the recruiting department run, which is why he wasn't heartbroken. I don't have an issue with him doing that. I have an issue with him not getting bodies in there to help do the heavy lifting with the recruiting. Oh yeah, I think that has to be done. But Luke Fickell, and it's the same thing with the coaching story that just came out. You know what? If you're not going to be super on top of all this stuff, like, is it really that hard to reach out to Wisconsin football coaches and give them a 5-minute call? How's the wife? How are the kids? Hey, I realize you don't have anybody that we're recruiting right now. I just wanted to touch base and say hello, make sure you guys are doing good. It doesn't feel like those relationships are there, apparently. And if that's the case, then you can't have that attitude, because what happens when they do actually get somebody that ends up being of quality for you? They don't care that you suddenly are showing up. Their view on it is, oh, now you want something from me? And these other coaches that are showing up and just checking in and stuff like that, they're the ones that they feel better about selling their kid to, because those guys are putting effort into them.
Yeah, no, Barry Alvarez talked about it on his show, but just like what he had to come in and do, and basically, he had the high school coaches like clinic, like he went and he said, I'm going to get you guys for these things. Like, I'll bring in all your guest speakers and everything like that. You don't worry about it. I'll take care of that. And it's like, obviously Barry Alvarez saying the fan shouldn't be saying fire Fickle. He's gotten his own hate, but he clearly came in with a winning way to do things, and like how he had to establish those relationships. Like I'll give him credit for that. Like there's obviously a lot of credit goes out to Barry for that. But that's just something that it sounds like Luke Fickell hasn't been able to continue. So, I mean, that's what you got to do is you got to build those relationships. And it's like, just because you hire people doesn't mean you shouldn't get involved.
Yeah. I mean, I always view this as more of a corporate America. I'm more like as passionate as I am with the program in general. And it's my favorite team. I view things very much from a pragmatic perspective of, is this working? Is this worth what we're doing from a resource standpoint, from a financial aspect? Does it seem like the people we have in charge make sense and are making good decisions and are getting us value for the money that we are investing? And I'll be honest, I look at it and that's where the biggest point of contention is for me. Like I really struggle when somebody comes out and tries telling me that, hey, I see where they're going with this. And, I understand. It's like, you're not selling hope anymore. You can do that the first year when he hasn't put his fingerprints on the program. You can't do that year 3 when you're bottoming out and you've had 3 years to do this, especially not in today's climate when you can basically rebuild your team in an offseason every year.
Yep.
I could shake a box of names and come up with enough players that we could probably put together like a more productive roster than what we've had. It's crazy how poor we've been. We aren't. Yeah, I brought it up. I was looking for our rankings right now. I think it said something like, we're 132nd in total offense and 134th nationally in scoring offense.
We are genuinely the worst Power 4 offense.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's
across the game. And
not a question.
Just like to add on to that fact, it seemed once when a couple weeks ago when he got this vote of confidence, like, oh, we're going to invest more. It just seemed like, okay, this is McIntosh saying this, but it seems if Fickle leaves, McIntosh is leaving as well.
Oh, that's absolutely. They're tied now.
Yeah.
There's no way around this. When you come out publicly and say, I stand behind him, you handcuffed yourself to him. Like if you could put cinder blocks on his feet, you're going down with him.
And he got that vote of confidence. And now it just seemed like in those weeks, McIntosh was asking everybody else, every other higher up, can you give me a vote of confidence so I know for a fact that Fickle can stay and so we can ruin this program even more?
So my perspective on this is I feel like McIntosh dug his own grave on this one because it's not really rocket science. You had a chance to be critical of what you're seeing on the field and say, hey, I was wrong. We made the wrong hire. We need to address this and adjust and find a way forward to move forward and move on from this. He chose to not go in that direction. And because of that, this is where you're at now. You gave a vote of confidence to a lame duck coach. And because you did that, that means that we now have to accept that you don't have the judgment necessary to be in your position anymore. And that's just how I view it. Like you need to prove, if you want to keep your job when you make a wrong hire, you need to prove that you understand you made a wrong hire and that you need to address it quickly and move on. Like I've seen it before where you see people talking about business and they say, you need to get over your ego and you need to learn that if somebody's not the right fit for your company, you need to cut your losses early and move on and mitigate the damage. He's doubling down on the damage. And because of that, now he's the one that's going to be held accountable for it, most likely.
And what scares me the most is this season is a wash.
And
per se, I mean, it's probably going to happen. Fickle's coaching next year. And with this much easier schedule, he ekes out 6, maybe 7 wins. And it's like, oh, yay, we improved. But it's just like this train that is moving at a snail's pace that will never improve because, oh, we just went 2-10. Now we've gone 6-6 and we lost a bowl game to probably Western Michigan. And it's just that showing of improvement just scares me because now the consensus will be, oh, we improved a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I see here the issue I have with that perspective on it, especially with the additional resources that are potentially being put into it. You need to adjust that based off the resources.
Yeah.
So if you're giving him money for what should be an 8-4, 9-3 team, and he goes 6-6 with it, he's still underperforming.
Yeah.
So you have to look at it from the perspective of just improving in wins and losses. And Mac will probably sell it as, look, we improved, we're bowl eligible again. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's still not the level of coaching that you should be seeing for what you're spending.
Yeah. The problem is I set my target 2 years ago when we were talking about this, and it was supposed to be like a 9-10 win team. Like that's
absolutely.
what we were talking about. And
Or
so
at least it
it's
should
like
be a 7-5 team where you're looking at it and saying, all right, next year we should be making the leap. Now we should be competing for top of the conference. When you say 4 or 5 years, you're saying you're on the upswing now and things are headed in the right direction, not bottoming out in year 3 where you have like 10 straight. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be like 15 Power 4 losses in a row.
No, it's going to be bad because the other teams have gotten better. And like I said, we have talent, and that's why it's frustrating because I think you could bring in a new coach next year and the team would be better. That was my only thing is I was hoping they'd lose out just so we could get a new coach.
Mm-hmm.
That was my biggest hope there. But no, it's like this. It feels like you have somebody who's like, I want to invest in stocks, and they put all their money into it and lost all their money. And then their friend's like, oh, no, I actually do believe in you. Let me give you my money. It's like, they're going to lose it. And you're like, it's going to come in like, man, you lost all my money. It's like, dude, well, I lost all my money too. We're both broke now.
Yeah. We got McIntosh acting like the grifter investment guy showing up at the old folks home being like, I just need one more shot at this. Just give me a few more dollars. And the old lady being like, oh, he's so sweet. And I'm like, everybody else is like, no, this guy sucks. He's taking your money. This is why I said, like, I posted on Twitter, and I'm going to keep calling it Twitter because I just can't keep on. Sorry. I said, we need to prove that we want change with our money financially at this point. You need to go out there and say, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to a game this year. Maybe I'm not going to buy that sweatshirt. Maybe I'm not going to, send money, give money to the NIL. Why should we? You're sitting here acting like we owe it to you so we can make your job easier. And it kind of feels like a slap in the face when you give us awful results and say that wins and losses don't matter. We need to stay the course. It's like, okay, well, it matters to us when we're spending our money on this and you're getting paid to do it. So there's a little bit difference here of how people are looking at this, because I don't want to go down to a game and watch a bad team play when I have, limited, extra income to go out and do stuff like that. That's an expensive weekend for me to go get a hotel and do everything else and go down there and do that and be like, all right, we're going to be a terrible team. I'm going to sit here and watch and be angry the entire time because we're not making a real effort to try and be good.
And don't boo the terrible product.
Yeah. Fans don't deserve this. And we're being treated like our perspective doesn't matter on this. It literally came across to me like I have the donors on my side, so F you guys.
Yeah. I was going to say, also, Ted Kellner, you're going to catch a stray because you opened your mouth. It's like, I don't know what you're doing here.
You should have stayed out of it. I would.
And that's my only point is don't expect people to not give you hate when you open your mouth. It's like that. And that's by my whole thing. That's even for McIntosh. If he would have just gone with the business cliche of, you want to know what, we're going to go and continue to keep evaluating the situation because our fan deserves better. Okay, there you go. But it's like, that's what you got. You basically keep saying that. You don't, I need a vote of confidence. It's like, man, Fickles must be one of these like millennial coaches or like Gen Z that really needs a pep talk here, And that, that's just stereotyping.
Every game he tells us that he wishes he had the answer and doesn't have it.
Yeah. I mean,
that is not what I want to hear
buddy.
from my coach.
Okay.
And I would love to hear him be critical. Like, I know he wants to protect his players, but guess what? Maybe you need to stop doing that so much and start effectively saying, hey, yeah, I need to be a little bit critical here. We
Yeah,
missed some
no, he
plays
leaves
out
it to
there.
the players. That
I've
to me
never
that
seen him
yeah.
raise his voice or just be irate on a football field. And the only improvement that I can see besides winning a game this year or being slightly competitive is if he takes off that team vest. Because that might be
Listen,
the most
the
annoying
entire
thing.
fan base wants to set fire to that thing. I can tell you
Yeah.
that. I've heard so many people that are angry about it. But yeah, this
It's
is
just
ridiculous.
yeah.
Well, he took it from another coach. Like that's the whole thing. It's like I still feel like he just holds on to Ohio State and it's like Jim Tressel stuff. It's
Mhm.
just like do you have anything original? Like people eventually see through that. It's like, wait, this isn't you. It's like come up with something new, please. It's like, that's the whole thing in football. It's like you adapt to the talent you have. And it's like, but he doesn't adapt to anything. He's just like it's this is the way it is. And I just it frustrates me. It's like, that's why I root for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons now and Jake Dickert.
I feel like, and I've said this a few times, that when I look at him, it feels like he doesn't believe in anything specifically, schematically, or from anything else. And because of that, if you don't have anything that you believe in as a coach, like what are you doing? Like what do you fall back on when something's not working? You throw up your hands and just start throwing stuff at the wall. Like love it or hate it with Paul Chryst, he believed in the run game and being able to work off of that for his offensive scheme, which is why we were never horrific run team.
Yeah.
But I don't feel that way with Luke Fickell. Like I don't feel like this is supposed to be a run heavy team, but it doesn't feel like we've leaned into it like a run heavy team. And I do think that based off results in the past that Grimes knows what he's doing with the run game. We clearly don't have the pieces this year, but you need to develop those pieces. And here's the problem. You're going to go into this offseason and we're going to hear that, well, things will be in a better place. You're still going to have a bunch of guys who are like redshirt freshmen as your backups who are probably not going to be ready to slide in and play. And you're going to, have to get a significant amount of like experienced talent in that room for next year.
Which I think just adds on to the fact that he just totally neglected getting any depth for the O-line.
Oh, yeah. That's a big part of it. We were talking about that in the offseason, that he needed more pieces.
The guy from Cincinnati. I mean, how does Cincinnati outbid Wisconsin?
I heard that guy was asking, and I don't necessarily put stock in this, but was asking for like $2 million, which he could have been. What I will say with that is it's probably possible given that it was the spring window and there's a limited number of guys that are probably of quality, which is why the Heinsohn thing I kind of give somewhat of a pass on, because I'm like, what was there really out there in the spring window? But you should have had depth anyways. Like there should have been a backup left tackle that you felt if something happened, you had a swing tackle that was capable of playing. Yeah. And you clearly didn't have that. So going into the season, what the hell were you thinking? Were you just going to hope in one hand or crap in the other and figure out which ones gets filled first? Because I could tell you there's definitely going to be issues with somebody going down on the offensive line.
They should have moved Malman right away.
Oh, that should have been done fall camp. Like he should have been the starting left tackle to start the season. You would have had 2 weeks likely of fall camp to prep on that position rather than having to get it through during the regular season where they have very limited practice reps. It's mostly like walkthroughs and stuff like that and game planning. And instead you can't do a ton of technique work at that spot because you're busy with everything else. So it's like you did this in the most ridiculous way possible. And it was all something that you should have been ready for possibly happening. Like, it's not like Haywood got injured in fall camp. You knew this was a problem.
Yeah.
So you should have had multiple potential, solutions to this issue.
And how does he just bank his entire fortress or his entire O-line on one guy? I mean, there's going to be injuries in a football season.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt after Haywood went down, so did the entire O-line.
Well,
and also just moving guys across a line. I never played football, but moving an O-lineman who's a left tackle all the way across seems like a pretty big thing. I mean, you're pushing off an entirely other foot, your non-dominant hand. I mean, it just seems like in that situation, it was the time, but you have to have a guy there who is a natural at that position.
So I think Malman, I think where you run into the more less so than like that aspect of it, it's more of a does he have the actual skill set from a like physical talent level to play that spot? Malman does to an extent. I think he's capable of being a solid left tackle at the college level. He's obviously not a pro at that position, but I also don't necessarily know that he was anything special for the right side. You know, he might get drafted. I don't think he's been exceptional this year, but I do think he's probably been one of our better offensive linemen, and that's not saying much because we're
Not saying much, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably kind of look at it as what the Badgers have done in the past, and they just always put their best guy at left tackle. I mean, you saw it a lot of times with, I mean, a lot of their tackles that ended up swinging into guard in the NFL. It's like, but you put, hey, I'm a tackle on tape, because if you can play tackle for a little bit in the NFL, that's what's going to get you paid. And hey, worst case scenario, yeah, you get drafted a little lower or whatever, but you stick in the NFL as a guard. It's like I went and watched the Commanders play, and you saw, Dietz in there. It's like he was still there, and who else was there? I'm trying to think. There were two guys on the line though for Washington. One guy wasn't playing still, but it's like, hey, he was still in the league. So I was like,
well, so one of the things that bothers me too, and we saw this coming into the season, Ryan Corey ends up starting at or getting reps at center to start the season.
Yep.
Ryan and I talked about that last year when he came in his recruiting class. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
He would probably be a really good guard or center. And here we wait until this year to move him to center, and it's like you knew you had to prep somebody for next year. If it was even a thought, why not start him right there right away, or at least split time with him last year when he first came in, so that when he comes into this year, is not like learning on the job to potentially be your backup for this season. Like if you're going to do center, that's like the one offensive left tackle and center are probably the two positions I look at where I'm like, you better have somebody kind of getting ready for this spot that has reps and has a year under their belt, because you don't want somebody who's only been playing that position for 3 months coming in to try to do that job. If you have a freak show like Haywood, yeah, you could probably get away with it, but most teams don't have a guy like that.
Also, how do we not have a snapping specialist somewhere on call? Like, I don't get that. Because, I mean, like Pat McAfee, how he had never held before. It's like, hey, we're going to send you to this specialist. You go figure it out. It's like, how are we not flying some dude in? Oh, can't spend money. Maybe that's why. But it's like, man, I'd be like, hey, who can teach somebody how to snap the ball and get this done right?
If it's the difference between your offensive line being terrible and being coherent, pay out of your own pocket.
Yeah.
He makes $8 million. You think you couldn't bring somebody in for 10 grand to be able to work with them? Like, good Lord. Like if that's the way you're looking at things, you clearly don't care about, winning in this environment.
The problem is when we bring in those specialists, they spend too much time at the bar and end up getting in trouble. So
specialists, coaches, whatever. I'm not talking about this stuff. Wisconsin has a rich history. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Anyone else has some thoughts on this, feel free to hop up with us here. But I'm just really tired of being told that we're wrong, because we're not. We're right on this. And it's like we know that this is not going to get significantly better. And it's going to go into next year and be like, oh, well, I guess we needed to cut him loose. It's going to be like, really? Shocking, huh? We've been telling you that for like a year and a half now.
What will make you say you're wrong next year? And I only ask this because, like, I feel like I've had to eat a lot of crow because, like, I'm normally an optimist. Like, I tried to believe in this team, like, especially with the recruiting. Like, hey, I was one of the, once he gets his guys in here, he's going to be good. And, I'm eating my words now. I don't think I'm going to eat them next year by saying that it's going to be terrible.
Next year, what happens is you're going to see McIntosh get fired with him. So we'll be like, you didn't make the decision, so we're making it for you, is the move that ends up happening. Because for the life of me, if I will be so angry if they fire Fickle and he gets a crack at hiring the next guy.
Oh, yeah.
Because I have no trust whatsoever for him in his role. He's had too many screw-ups across the board with his position for me to trust him, even in the role, just from an administrative standpoint, as a AD. Like, you have been so tone deaf with every time you get a microphone in front of you, saying things that just kind of piss off the fan base. And you have no self-awareness to realize that those words are making them angry, which is why tonight, after he did this, like, there was a firestorm on Twitter of everyone like they're super angry about the whole wins and losses comment. Like that's not how we're going to rate things. It's like, no, you don't get to play that in today's atmosphere where you can buy a team every year. Like, you don't get to play that we're playing the long game card. You can play that when Barry comes in and he's building from scratch and he's got to establish a program where there was none. You don't get to do that with Luke Fickell when you're a top 20-ish revenue program in college football and act like he doesn't have resources at his disposal to be good. Like, that's ridiculous.
I mean, I did hear some things about like them saying not to like take a lot of players from Cincinnati, you know, because that's not the way Wisconsin does things. I don't know who exactly said that, but like, you know, if that's the case, maybe it's like that could have played a role, but not, like I said, it's been 3 years now. It's like that excuse is kind of out of the way. Like, that's the whole thing. It's like, I get the excuses, but at some point they do run out. And like, that's the point where I'm at.
I think they picked and choose who they wanted to bring and who they thought was a fit.
They got a lot of young guys, except for even Renfro was younger.
Yeah. I think looking at this, you kind of have to take the aspect of, well, there was so much was made about how the roster wasn't very good. I don't think it was exceptional when he came in, but I also think that, you know what, maybe he just stinks as a coach, and that's
Hunter Wohler got worse under this staff.
Oh yeah, well, I will say, like, I think
our inside linebackers look terrible. I mean, they were all slow, but
the more we're finding out that the coaches at Notre Dame are probably the ones that were the actual brains in the room.
Yep,
Freeman and who's the offensive coordinator there?
Oh yeah, so he was going to be the tight ends coach here. Oh.
Yeah. No.
We don't have
not the tight ends coach. It was he was he was at LSU before he was over at I know his name is. He's one of the best offensive coordinators in college football. Denbrock. There it is. Somebody threw it up for me. Thanks, Zach. Yeah, Denbrock. Denbrock's like the most expensive OC in college football, and Freeman was like the best defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
So yeah, we probably should.
And they got Joe Rudolph.
Maybe.
And he had NFL corners on that team, and Desmond Ritter. I mean, he had NFL guys, and I honestly don't feel like we have 2-10 talent. We have a 2-10 coach.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like we would have had, like, I feel there's enough talent on this roster to have 5 or 6 wins.
Even with the injuries. I mean, we've had injuries to our team that cannot be denied. Like, I mean, losing your starting quarterback 3 years in a row.
Well, that's just it.
Still...
Iowa started a converted linebacker at quarterback last year and had, 8 wins?
Deacon Hill beat us.
Yeah.
He was a Paul Chris recruit.
Yeah, and he was horrific.
And he beat us.
Oh, he's the John Budmeier to be specific.
For 100 yards in that game, yeah.
He didn't. He beat us by handing the ball off and throwing a couple interceptions, and he beat us.
Oh, all right, guys. Well, I think we're going to call it for tonight, but, you know, listen, there will be better days, and hopefully they involve both Fickle and
well, yeah, Wisconsin basketball.
Yeah. Wisconsin basketball going to be, you know, obviously we have a game tomorrow night against Northern Illinois. So there's something, a palate cleanser for this. I hope and pray that they will have the comments on tomorrow on Tauscher.
Oh, I'm checking it out for sure.
So cooked if that's the case, because listen, the donors may not be grilling you on this, but I can guarantee you the fan base is absolutely livid with you with the way that you're handling this.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't know when it is. I don't know if it's, I forget exactly when, but Luke Fickell's daughter plays volleyball for Indiana. I do just want to say I advise not chanting "Fire Fickle" at the volleyball game.
Out of this, he's still a parent.
Yeah,
like, I don't hold any problem with Luke Fickell as a person. Like, that's whatever. You go ahead and enjoy your time with your kids, and he doesn't deserve to have that shout at him when he's on the football field failing. Yes,
yeah.
you get to yell that at him, and people can say what they want about it, but when you get $8 million a year to be productive and you're not, that's what comes with the territory. It's the same thing for McIntosh. When you make bad hires and you're making multiple millions of dollars a year, you don't get to suck and get away with it unscathed. People are going to hold you accountable. It's either going to be in the court of public opinion or somebody's going to fire you. But you're going to hear it from somebody. But anyways, guys, thanks again for everybody that listened, that put up comments. Sorry I didn't get to more of them. What I will say is, if you guys enjoy the show, please like and subscribe. Oh, we got Brian on here. Maybe we'll jump him in here for a second. I'm going to drop you off, Andrew, okay? I want to see if Brian...
Only one way but up.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Thanks, man. You have a good night.
Have a good one.
Coming on. Hey, Brian. What's up, man?
What's going on? You able to hear me?
Yep. I can hear you.
All right, cool. So just to touch on a few things because holy hell.
Yeah, I had the same opening.
The development, we were spoiled. For all the flaws of Chris and Gary Anderson, Bielema, all their warts, they at least could develop players. And I have watched reverse of that. I've watched players get worse under this staff. That alone tells me everything I need to know about this staff.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like what's happening at this point is we've seen such minute changes in like development within the offensive line that we're happy with seeing anything that looks like even coherent offensive line play at this point. Ituka ran really hard in that last game, and he averaged like 4.5 yards a carry, and we're like, oh, yeah, it was over 4 yards a carry. Like, that's ridiculous. The fact that we're getting that excited about that. And that's against, it's a pretty good Oregon team, but it's also crappy weather where it should be easier to run. I don't know. Like, I don't expect us to run the ball well against, like, it's going to be roughly the same against Washington, I think. It's not going to be anything special.
Yeah, and it's also, you watched even in that game, Oregon took us not even remotely seriously. They started the game with an onside kick because they had no fear of us.
Whatsoever. Yeah.
Like, it's almost like we're a glorified bye week now.
Oh, yeah. Well, and look at it this way. How does that game turn out if they don't lose Dante Moore, like in the first half? Like I know I brought up like 35-7 in better weather. It's probably 35-7 if Dante Moore's not out, like the entire second half of that game. Like, I guarantee you they put the ball in the end zone a little bit more. They were starting like a true freshman or something like that, weren't they? At quarterback?
Something like that, yeah.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, I brought it up, talking on our show last night, the 3 big things, and I said, you have to get a quarterback ready in order for them to be ready. You can't have him taking scout team or third team reps and expect that he's going to have a great development curve. You're just not. You need to put him in with the players that are actually used to running the offense rather than having a bunch of guys who are still learning the playbook, screwing up together. It doesn't make any sense to expect him to really take massive steps. If you want him to get out on the field, you need to put him with the ones and get him reps and get him like truly understanding the way the timing is supposed to look, the way everything's supposed to come together. Make him the weak point so he's the one that's pushing himself to come up to speed with everybody else. If you're not doing that, then he's not going to make any big strides this year.
Absolutely. And you see freshmen starting all over the country. And look, they're going to have their warts. They're going to have their mistakes, but that's how they learn.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I played football my whole youth. I'll tell you, I've made more mistakes than I made good plays, but I adapted because of those mistakes.
Yeah, I equated it to being like a mechanic learning from a manual versus working on an engine. Which one of those things do you think actually develops him quicker? probably wrenching on an engine consistently versus staring at a bunch of diagrams in a book. Like those things are only going to get you so far. Looking at the playbook for so long is only going to get him so far. He's got to get out there and see the things actually happening in front of him in order to understand it. And he needs to see it where the guys are doing it, like seeing Vinny Anthony actually run the correct route at the right speed, getting to the right depth, and doing everything in time. So he can know when they look at that film and say, he's in the right spot, you're the one that made the mistake.
Yeah.
You
Was Kenny Guyton the right move there? That's another good question, too, that you got to kind of ask. It's like going from wide receivers to quarterback. It's like we're never really going to know. I think that's the hard thing, unless players talk about it.
Room is a train wreck, and it was not helped by the offensive line play. And again, you had an injury at quarterback, and I don't think that I have this hard time believing that true freshman quarterback can't play. I think you should have a definite limit to what you expect from them. But to me, Carter not being able to play is because you're not actively pushing him to. Do I think that Raiola was ready to play when he got to Nebraska? No. He was getting all the 1 reps. Of course he got better as the spring and fall happened. So by the time he got there, he had taken so many 1 reps that he at least had a understanding of what he was supposed to do most of the time, even if he couldn't totally execute all the time. Do I think Carter would be there by now, in this point in the season, where he might have a solid quarterback? Probably. But you also had guys that, for whatever reason, you thought were going to be – listen, Danny is a nice kid. I never felt like he was going to be the guy that I wanted to be the starter, and I would have been angry if he was the starter over Carter next year if Carter showed anything.
Yeah.
Physical tools they matter. And I was always kind of like, the arm strength's not necessarily there. He's got some nice running ability, but he's going to limit what you can do because, the arm isn't there. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of going all over the place now.
How do you feel about this money being a motivator, though? I'm seeing the comments on there, and I think that's an interesting one because, I don't know, I guess in my opinion,
being a motivator in terms of what context?
Well, I think that I just saw it in the comments, but it's like, I think it's like people are like, oh, imagine that money's a motivator for players. But it's like, I agree that money's a motivator, and it's like that might get you the foot in the door, but it's like smart people understand the long term as far to me about money. It's like if you're going to look like trash, you're not going to keep continuing to get paid well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to go to a company that's going to develop you and continue to make money. You can go to a trash company that pays you well to start. Well, all of a sudden they lose money and they lay you off. That's not good. You don't want to go there. You want to go to a stable company where you're going to get steady money. I'm
not saying kids shouldn't get money. My perspective on this all along has been that I felt like they should get money and it should be put into a trust and they get it when they graduate.
Yep.
And if you want to give them a stipend so everyone's getting the same amount of money, so they have a little extra money, fine, whatever. But I think that doing what they've done has turned it into a bunch of mercenaries. And you have a bunch of players who will just go wherever the money is and don't really buy into the institution or anything else. When you when you see kids choosing a school based on the fact that, they're getting paid more versus this is where I wanted to go, that's when you get kids who just don't care. I want to play football, but maybe I'm not bought into this team because I never truly wanted to go here. They just offered me the most money. So now you care less. That's been a negative impact on college football because of this. You have a bunch of kids who are now getting money who are going and making business decisions versus where do I want to actually go and play? What did I grow up wanting? Where did I want to go for an institution? And that has kind of, messed with the game in terms of if a kid got money or less money and went to the school that he cared about, I think you probably get more out of him because of the fact that he is where he wanted to ultimately be. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of it's life-changing money for these people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Again, after they get done with college.
Yeah, and that goes to why so many people are now pushing on the whole Wisconsin recruiting thing with Fick. you didn't have a lot of that pushback early on, but now all of a sudden you have it because at least a Wisconsin kid in theory would be more committed to the program that's in his backyard.
Yeah. From Jason Geldin here. Do all you players get raises in the offseason because that's what the market might dictate? This is where one of the things where I look at it and I'm like, we look at this from an NIL standpoint. I hope we're not looking at, like, I hope we're not dumb enough as a school that we look at it and we're like, well, we have this money, we have to use our full budget, even if the players don't deserve that money, because nothing is dumber than paying a kid over market value simply because it works both ways. If they're going to leave when they get paid more to go someplace else, you better be paying them only what they're worth when they're here and not pricing yourself out of better players at other spots because you sewed up that money to somebody who didn't deserve it because, well, we had it available, so we used it. Okay, well, now you need that left tackle that you weren't sure that you needed, and now you can't afford him because you spent $400K on a linebacker that's giving you 1 sack and 4 tackles for loss on the season. And that's not anyone specific. I'm just making an example of it.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the type of thing where I look at it and I'm like, I feel like we legitimately are a dumb enough school that we would do that. We would use the whole budget up because, well, we got to use it anyway, so let's budget it and then overpay players who don't deserve that money.
Yeah, no, I think in a way it's like personally, like this is just my mindset. If like I was coach, it's like I don't mind the money thing because, you know, I read a comment, 18 to 22-year-olds, they don't know anything about money. Some kids are smart at that age. You can say like they don't actually understand it, but like, you know, as somebody who wants to develop kids, it's like what a great time to actually sit down with somebody and see how their brain functions. You know that's how you're going to truly see, like if somebody's all about money, you're going to see that it's like, okay, this is what they're going to do. It's like, okay, hey, you know, that'd be a question. Hey, we're going to give you $500,000. What are you going to do with this money? Like, to me, that give me such an insight to somebody. And if they say, you know, I truly don't know, and it's like just to get resources, I mean, those are the types of things that you sell. It's like, how are we going to make you better as a person? And it's like, I don't know if that's what they're doing, like truthfully. But it's like, as somebody who, you know, like I'll work with middle school and high schoolers, it's like, I just have, you know, I care about like kids and I want them to have the best understanding of things. And it's like, so if you're sitting across from me, that's the conversation we're having. I already know about you in football. I've watched the tape. Now I need to know who you are.
So what I'm going to address this real quick from Ryan Obermeyer here. So the Tyler Strieber said that the average player at Maryland apparently is getting 110K. Whether that's accurate or not, it isn't really here nor there. What I will say is if you're getting 110K a year and that money is invested by the time you're done, it's not about, it may not seem like life-changing money, but if you're coming out of college debt-free and that money's just sitting in the bank, you set that in there for 15, 20 years, you know, accruing interest and everything else through the market, that's going to be huge. That's a ton of money to have that early, that to be sitting on and letting the market just, you know, bring it up. But here's the deal. Like, you're so far ahead of everybody else that's coming out of college at that age. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, it is life-changing money. Like, the average person is coming out of college with, you know, $50,000 to $150,000 in debt from a college degree. This person's coming out with $300,000-$400,000 in the positive. They can buy a house, and whatever money you're making for your first job is all just gravy money because your house is paid for. Like, it realistically, it is life-changing money. Like, you can maximize your 401k right out of college. And I look at it where, you know, we're coming out of this differently and reviewing it because that is a huge deal. When you look at it from the perspective of somebody that's in the middle class and saying you can go straight to maximize whatever your 401k is right off the bat, and all that money can just get dumped right into your financial future. You have people who can retire by the time they're 50, 55. Yeah.
The best time for compound growth right there. Setting them up.
So
they can blow it too, though. Like, don't get
absolutely. Well, that's why I like.
But it absolutely can be life changing.
Oh, absolutely. I have a cousin that ended up playing the NBA, and they talked about it, how some of these guys would go and burn through money like crazy and he was taking every cent he could and putting it into his retirement out of it. And he's like, he was fully vested, like as fast as humanly possible for it. And it's like, yeah, well, that's the smart way to do it. Like so many of these guys just get it and they think that it's going to be there for forever. And it's like, you get 5 years, like the average is probably not even that for some of these leagues. For these kids coming out of high school or out of college, you get 4 years of getting paid anything. Put that money into wherever and be ready for when you come out of college to have 50 grand to put towards a house or a car or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's a huge bonus over somebody else that's got to pay out of pocket for that. But all right, guys, we're going to call it tonight. Thanks for coming on. We kind of got all over the place with this one. Hopefully people enjoy listening to it, but we end on Justin's financial advice at the end of the episode. Everyone, honestly, feel free to comment tomorrow on Wilde and Tauscher and slam it. Nothing is going to get accomplished with this without us proving how angry we are with what's happening. And he needs to be thoroughly torched, in my opinion, in terms of people understanding truly how angry everyone is with the way this is being handled. Because we look like a joke. Like nationally, we're pathetic. When we see writers like Mandel coming out and saying he might be 2-10, what are you doing? It's like, yeah, you're understanding where we're at. Like you guys should be crushing him for the decisions that he's making. But all right. Yeah, if you guys like this, like and subscribe. Thanks everyone for listening, for the 100 plus of you that are still hanging around. I appreciate you coming on. I know you guys miss Rajeev. He's definitely more on point and more focused than I am, but I like just talking about this stuff. So you guys have a good night. Everybody, thanks for coming on. All right. Thanks for hanging out, guys. It was a good night.
On Wisconsin.
All Wisconsin.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoy the show, subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Bucky Report or The Bucky Report Podcast from wherever you get your content. Until next time, on Wisconsin.